Hello and welcome. I haven't shot a video for a while, but over the past little bit, as you can see, I built my studio over here. It's kind of doubles as my new studio slash computer lab. So I'm going to be shooting a lot of my material from here the next little while. In fact, I'm going to be shooting probably about 15 or 20 videos from here related specifically to this whole COVID nonsense. And it's going to be quite an extensive series, actually, because I'm going to cover everything from government lies, government hypocrisy. I'm going to show you the empty hospitals that the government says that don't exist. I'm going to show you the fake deaths that the government tells you about, but I'm also going to show you deaths that have happened as a result of these vaccines that people are being forced into. I'm going to show you a lot of material on people who actually have died, but not from COVID, even though those are the listed reasons. But you know, when people are dying of things like heart attacks, car accidents, getting shot, and listed as COVID, we have a problem here. But I'm going to be going over all of that over the course of this series. Today, however, I want to start off with Greta Thunberg, because Greta plays quite a key role in all of this through media. You all know her as being what I think of now 17 or 18-year-old Swedish kid who decided to take Fridays off because she thought that she was helping the environment by protesting, doing this and doing that. As a matter of fact, she made quite a speech at the United Nations a couple of years ago, you know, telling you how dare you this, how dare you that all you want is economics and all you talk about is money and so on and so forth. Well, we're going to, in this video, going to kind of decimate all that for her and for you people, because got to expose her for who she really is. So, if you watch this particular video, here's the actual video of her at the United Nations with her speech. Have a listen.
Greta, your first climate strike was a lonely event a little over a year ago, and in the intervening time you have sparked the interest of millions, literally, of children around the globe demanding action for climate change. What's your message to world leaders today?
My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today, that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
There you go. You heard the speech. How dare you this? How dare you that? You know, the acting job was fantastic. She probably went to Justin Trudeau's drama school for all we know, because it was just wonderful. But there's a lot of flaws in that particular speech. We're going to go over them. So Greta made a whole point of not going over to New York by anything like things like flying or that uses fuel. So instead, what she did is she found one of her rather wealthy friends and insisted that it be a solar-powered sailing craft that would bring her over. Greta, have you got any idea what kind of energy and what kind of fuel is required to run and to actually create one of those solar crafts? It actually takes more to create one of them than it does to build an actual regular diesel engine vehicle, and the emissions are infinitely less because you have all the batteries, which by the way you can't dispose of. Then you have the cost of construction, and they're not put together by little rhesus monkeys and leprechauns. You do know that, right? So you didn't really do anything there. That was nothing but showboating, Greta. Sorry. Now, you're telling us about things like going to school, which you didn't actually go to on Fridays because you were protesting. Well, Greta, you're telling people, how people are driving their kids to school. Is that? How do you get to school, actually, Greta? Your parents do have a vehicle, right? So, whether you walk to school or not, that's not the issue here. The issue here is that people do have vehicles, Greta. And any idea what it costs to run a vehicle? You need to have jobs for that, Greta. And those jobs is something that you clearly aren't interested in having because you don't want to have anything to do with this so-called, as you call it, anti-environmental stuff that you keep telling people, oh, how dare you this, How dare you that? You went on social media. How do you think that runs, Greta? You think you have a bunch of little leprechauns and unicorns powering little push bicycles to create the power that runs these servers so that you can get out to your social media friends and tell them all what they should and shouldn't protest? No, Greta. That takes power. That takes energy. They don't just come at the snap of the finger like that and poof, there it is magically. These aren't Lucky Charms where it's magically delicious. No, Greta. Oh, by the way, when you're on your social media, whether it's on your computer or your phone, how do you think those phones are made? You think somebody just pops them out of thin air like that and poof, you have a phone just because you snap your little fingers? No, Greta. They take an enormous amount of power and energy to have those products that you use so graciously in order to transmit your messages on social media and whatever else you wish to transmit them on. So no, Greta. Again, your sense of reality is greatly skewed and greatly flawed. Couldn't help you. Nice clothes you're wearing too. Yeah, now if you were really an environmentalist, you'd probably be looking like some Tarzan and Jane girl, some from the jungle. But no, nice clothes. And you know something? Nice clothes, in fact, any clothes, they require power and energy, Greta. You just don't, again, snap your fingers and poof, you're suddenly clothed without knowing how they're made and how you come about them. So Greta, get off your high horse, you petulant little brat, because that's all you are. You think you know it all, you think you have all the answers, but you have no concept of reality, Greta, none whatsoever. You think your friends really care about giving up their iPhones and their computers and their video games and their videos and their TV and all that? No. They don't want to walk to school, Greta. They want to get driven to school like most other people. So get off your high horse, Greta, because the reality is you're full of it. Speaking of full of it, let's talk about your trip to the U.S. when you were kind enough somebody was kind enough to loan you their nice little $80,000 to $100,000 Tesla. Nice vehicle, I'm sure you liked it. Nice electric vehicle. What do you think it takes to charge one of them up? Again, you don't just snap your finger and poof, the car is automatically charged. No, it needs power stations. You need to have the ability to drive for a few hundred miles to the next power station. Those power stations are fed by electricity or coal or other forms of energy, maybe nuclear power, so that you can have your little extension cord going from your house or your hotel into the car so you can get in there and drive another 250, 300 miles to get to your next destination. By the way, the car couldn't help but notice all the nice little plastic thingies that you had in there. Yeah, for somebody who's into all this environmental stuff, Greta, yeah, you're quite a wasteful little young lady, aren't you? Couldn't help but notice all the garbage that you accumulated in the car. But talk is cheap, isn't it, Greta? You want people to listen to you, but no, you're not one to do it yourself, because can't have that happen, can you, Greta? So, Greta, get off your high horse. Let the adults do what we do best, and that's actually make things work so that you can have your little iPhones and your nice clothes and your computer, and that you can sit outside in the cold if that's what you want to do and protest over something that you have no concept of reality of. Greta, you're an idiot. Get over it. And you're going to be featured as well on the last video that I make about this whole COVID nonsense because, you're just an idiot. Have a nice day, Greta. People, have a nice day as well, and see you in the next video where we're going to get this whole COVID nonsense going. Bye for now.